All right. Hi, everyone. This is Shannon Port, and I am here today at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for our day 2 of our 21-day I Am Goddess meditation activation. And so it's really good to be back here today. I'm going to give it just a second. I just shared over on Facebook at Art of the Feminine. And so if you happen to see that link, I would be happy for you to share it to get the word out and let people know that we're live right now. And so, it's nice to see you. Oh, I'm so excited. So yesterday was day 1 of our journey. I'll just give you a little bit of a summary of why we're here at this time and what this meditation is all about. Again, I'm Shannon Port from Art of the Feminine, and we work with the divine feminine wisdom, with alchemy, with divine feminine astrology, with all kinds of archetypal wisdom to read the language of the forces of nature and understand which way things are moving right now as we make our way through this really, first of all, December is always such a divine month, but it's also a powerful time in our timeline. I think most of us know and agree and have experienced personally that 2020 has been a year of tremendous change. And so, we're getting ready to enter a new year. We're going to pass through a portal, and it's being called by many the true entrance into the Age of Aquarius. And I'll tell you why. The planet Saturn will begin its transit. It went in briefly and then went retrograde back into Capricorn, but Saturn will leave Capricorn. So we've had a lot of activity in that earth sign that has had a tremendous effect on the world we see. The Saturn Pluto conjunction and then Jupiter transiting Capricorn has been huge. Saturn will enter, and Jupiter and Saturn will be conjunct at 0 degrees of Aquarius on December 21st. And so Jupiter will just talk archetypally, and it doesn't make any difference if you're interested in astrology or not, because we try to approach everything through the archetypes and through that symbolic language that our conscious and subconscious mind understand. In fact, it's meant to activate superconsciousness or superconsciousness. And so that's why the archetypal wisdom is so powerful. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and it's the old ruler of Aquarius, but Saturn will bring things into form, and Saturn will also highlight the transmuting that we'll be doing in the sign of Aquarius. So Saturn moving through Aquarius is going to kind of bring us up to par so that we're ready to really truly transmute and live the higher energies of that sign, as we're going to be in this Age of Aquarius for quite some time now. And then Jupiter will bring expansiveness and will bring spirituality and healing and justice. And so those two entering together, a planet of expansion and growth and prosperity with a planet of contraction and grounding and coming into our karmic lessons is quite an interesting pair. And this hasn't happened in hundreds of years, so it's a big time. So that being said, it looks like there's some people on. It's nice to see you. Make sure to let me know where you're tuning in from, and I'll check down in just a moment. So I'm going to talk for a few minutes. We'll tune in and do a brief meditation where we go in. I name this day Entering the Womb of the Goddess. And then we'll do questions at the end. So we'll get started. So yesterday, our day 1 focus was on the physical container of matter. So we talked a lot about the body. We talked about the body consciousness and how we can really connect to our physical being right now and honor that part of our experience, our human journey, because with all the technology right now, we're getting drawn more and more up into the head and into the mind. We'll talk more on an archetypal level about that as we go. We're getting pulled into the mind. Our theme for today is going to be the mind. And so yesterday we spoke of the body, the physical vehicle, and today we're going to talk about the mind and the importance of our relationship with our mind. I'm going to talk about the 3 levels of mind that we'll be working with, and how the movement and the energies into this new age that we're entering, and how the energies are being used in the outer right now, are having a huge effect on the way we're able to access our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, and our superconscious mind. And so those are the 3 levels that we're working with primarily. Our conscious mind, which is very connected to the sign Gemini, and I'll use a little bit of our astrological language, but try to explain it as we go. The North Node is in Gemini, and so there's a huge emphasis on Mercury, which is the ruling archetype of Gemini, and the mind, also on how we communicate the power of the word. It has to do with how we merge with what we hear and take in, and what we believe, and what we focus on. And so the intention for today is to bring some awareness to the very crucial mastery that we are being called to at this time, to just understand what consciousness is. Oh, it's nice to see everybody. Wow. I'm so touched and really, really honored to be connecting with you, all of you from around the world right now. It's a really beautiful time. And I just want to, on that note, I just want to say human beings are craving connection right now. I've been hearing it every day. People are craving community, spiritual community, love community, human community, and connection. And so that's what this is really meant to be, just a place that we can tune in together and acknowledge what we're going through as we make our way through this portal. And so consciousness, our mind, the divine feminine aspect of creation, is our consciousness. So I want you to just take that in for a moment and ask, what does consciousness mean to you? Consciousness is the living goddess. And this is about bringing in a higher level of goddess consciousness and goddess awareness. Now, she has many different archetypal expressions, but consciousness is the goddess. There's different levels of consciousness and different fires within the consciousness, but consciousness itself is the expression of life. By its very nature, it creates. So there's that void within the womb that we'll enter into. But once we get the vortex of consciousness moving, we have creation, we have birth, we have a reality, we have a projection. And so consciousness is our ability to communicate with each other and to feel each other, to feel each other's hearts, and even more profound, to know each other. Because we can be in a room with 1,000 people and not know anyone. Now, on the higher level, of course, we can realize we're one. We can go into the oneness and understand that it's the same life pulse, the same consciousness, the same breath that's beating every heart. But in the human expression, we seek to know, we seek to have union with, and to be able to read each other's hearts. It's one of the most prized gems of being human is to be able to feel another's heart. We seek it in many ways, and we seek that experience in many ways. We seek it through love relationships, and that we deeply crave love relationships. It's part of the soul, and that's why all kinds of talk about twin flames and soulmates has become so big in the past 10 years, and we will probably touch on some of that as we go. But it's a natural desire to merge and to join and to know another. And we can merge in our mind, we can merge in our heart, and we can merge physically, sexually, and just through human contact and human touch. But our consciousness is golden. We have to take care of our consciousness, because our consciousness on different levels is able to be accessed and programmed from energies outside our own individual consciousness. And so it's part of the very first part of our awakening and coming in tune with the goddess and our own creativity and our own ability to manifest and create a reality comes through understanding that that consciousness is precious and that it moves through our breath. Breath is a number one expression of consciousness. It moves through our thoughts, through our impulses, through our words. In fact, our words are a direct reflection of what our consciousness is. So my speaking is connected to my consciousness. My body is also a reflection and a mirror of that consciousness. So we talked about the body yesterday, and we talked about it as being the vehicle. It's an impermanent vehicle, but it's a vehicle that we occupy while we're here. And so how our body feels will be determine how we can use and run our consciousness, which is the goddess. So if our body is in pain or broken down or not, if our air is blocked and we're not breathing well, if we don't feel comfortable, it acts upon the way our consciousness can move through us. So where I'm going with this, you probably can figure it out, that everything that's happening in the outer world right now is playing a part on affecting our consciousness. And right now with technology, the outer realm is busier and noisier than it has ever been. And that's why we're going to go into entering into the womb to reboot and regenerate and nurture and take care of our hearts. Okay. So our consciousness of the heart, we talked about the consciousness of the mind. All of the information coming to us, it's so busy and so nonstop. It's like an assault on this consciousness, on our brain consciousness. This consciousness has an effect on this consciousness, my heart. The heart is the most valued because the heart in its true form is pristine. It's godlike. And the heart is really the goddess. It's the true expression of her vault of creative power. So we're always creating, but the reason there's so much talk about the heart is because the heart is that ability to link with everyone from wisdom and from true union. But the heart also has a lower chamber and a higher chamber. And so what's being stimulated from the outer world mostly is the lower chamber of the heart. The higher chamber is pristine. And it requires our system to be running pretty clean in order to access it. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. That part of our consciousness, which is not just localized here, it's everywhere, it's all around us. But that consciousness is a portal right into the galactic core, right up and out. And it also is a receiver of the divine force. And so before we're given that that full capacity to use that energy, we have to kind of have some command of our vessel. So that's why yesterday we talked about the mind, or the body, and our awareness of the body. Today we're going to talk about the mind, and we'll go into a brief meditation and tuning in with that. I'm going to look down and see if anyone has anything they want to mention before we get started and go into the next part of our meditation. And so nice to see you from the Netherlands and Virginia, Croatia, North Carolina, Los Angeles, Colorado, wow, Germany, Ireland. Um, oh, hi, nice to see you, America, Germany again. And let me see if I missed anyone else. Alaska, wow. So this is a matrix. So let's just take a moment and tune into each other. So let's come into our heart energy, and just for a moment, imagine you can feel everyone that's here right now. Just we're coming together in a place where we're all here for the same reason. And we have our different reasons for being here, but we've come whenever we come to something and we're unified, we're all coming to an event, there's something that brings us all together. And so it's very, very powerful. So just taking a moment, I want to just take a moment from my heart to welcome all the souls here live today, and all the souls that will be seeing this into the future. And take a moment to send all of you love, and to make an intention. The intention for our call today, and for this video and this activation, day 2, is to harmonize our minds, even with all of our different beliefs and our different points of view, our different realities. We ask to come together in the name of love. In the name of love. This is what we want to call onto the planet. Right now, there is a lot of movement, and what we are needing to go to the next level. This is the age of the initiation of the heart. We're working with the astral level right now, because our astral level holds all the emotional body of the planet, and that's what we're seeing very active right now. The complete running rampant of emotional energy and beliefs and ideas and feelings, and there's a battle taking place for who will harness the power of that. But each one of us has the ability to neutralize it within ourselves and use it for the true intention on this planet, which is creativity, which is union, which is love, and which is evolution, the rising of our understanding of what it means to be connected to the God source and the goddess source. And so I just want to welcome everybody here. I'm going to ask you now. It's very important right now. This is our tool to go in and access this. It's very important right now, with all of the technology, all of the more aggressive and assertive types of energies coming towards you and for you, that you remember that place within inside, and we're going to call it the womb of the goddess, that you're able to just understand what it means to go in and to be taken care of, to enter into that space of regeneration, of silence, of nurturing. We talked about this yesterday, how a lot of the male lineages spend most of their time in this space. It's very important to have that tool to be able to slow down and meet yourself on the inner plane. Because of all the noise and all the ideas and all the conflict in the outer world, there's also, of course, there's lots of love and good positivity as well. But it's really important that we know how to tune out the world for a while and go in and feel the love that dwells, the foundation of our consciousness, the mother who birthed us. And from that place, we access the divine light, the Holy Spirit, the Shekinah, which can be a form of the Divine Mother and the gift of rebirth that takes place every time we know this place. I recommend now, in fact, if you're doing this 21 days, every morning and maybe every afternoon, take a few minutes. It's surprising how easy it is to overlook this because we're so busy and so kind of dazzled by everything on the outside. But promise you, I can promise you that if you take this time and just start with a few minutes and you go in and you give yourself permission to detach from everything and to just be with yourself in the silence and listen. But there's no effort to it. It's purely to be with yourself and to feel what it is to have inner peace. And to realize that inner peace is our wealth. Because when we have inner peace, we hear. And when we hear, we receive. We're able to listen and we receive the true vision. I can honestly say that I've never had a problem that could not be solved in this space. Now, it's a bit of a, if you haven't met that place yet, I'm not talking about, I don't want to get too in the head about meditation. It is meditation, but this is a place of relaxing, going inward and just listening, and maybe even just being in the silence. As you sit there for a few minutes, you'll feel the layers shift. I don't want to get into the head, even though we're talking about the mind, but this is for the mind because our conscious mind is what's being kind of overtaken and steered. And what happens is then that directs the heart and it dampens our true power of our heart. It gets the lower heart stimulated and we reach for things almost compulsively that we feel will make us feel better or fill the void. But when we go into this space, we realize that the void is the greatest gift we have. It's the inner plane, and it is the source of all life and the source of all knowledge and all action. And so we're going to go in for just another couple minutes. I'm going to say some things. I won't keep us sitting here with our eyes closed for too long and in a video, but I'm just going to ask you to just get comfortable for a moment. You might take some shoulder rolls and just tune into your breath. The breath is linked to the mind. Our mind follows our breath. And so how we breathe, and I cannot give this to you enough times, how you're breathing will always inform you of what your state of mind is, which will be directly relinked to your nervous system, all of them, the whole trinity of nervous systems, and the impulses that are activating on a cellular level, including hormones, everything, our digestion, our hormone, everything is connected to the way the mind. This is yogic, of course, and metaphysical. So I'm not claiming to give any advice beyond that. But this is spiritual, and it's the feeling wisdom of the goddess. It's our own innate wisdom. We know what to do. We have all these voices competing to tell us what is right. This is the place that if this is universal. When you touch that place, you're in universal. When I teach light body yoga, we start with a practice. I've done it on these videos called Light Body Stargate, where we walk through. This is a little bit more, it's bright in here. This is a little bit more personal, meaning it's a little bit more like you're going into the womb and just relaxing and letting your mind settle, letting the mind settle. And so I'm just going to ask you we're going to do that for the next couple minutes. And And I may continue to talk, but I want you to get just a moment of peace. Take your breath. And so the breath, we just breathe until we let down and let go. It's really about relaxing. So let down and let go. And then just find yourself in the inner sanctuary, the womb of the goddess. This is your space, and it's the greatest wealth that you have. It's the mother child space. It's where we're nurtured, where we receive the wisdom to understand what reality is and what our divinity is. It's your own space. And this is why it's so amazing. While we have this opportunity, it's best to train ourselves how to recognize this space and how to use it and know it and merge with it. Because when times get more, when there's more turmoil and chaos or crises, it's a little bit harder unless we've trained ourselves and then we become the living expression of this place. But this is a time before we walk into 2021, the mind energies are going to pick up on the planet. So this is a time to relish this space and make it your best friend. Of course, I will not be talking when you're doing this at home on a daily basis, but this is just to let down beyond thinking. You're still alert. So this is not a sleep state. That's another kind of meditation, but this is a state of being awake, but feeling cared for and feeling inner peace. Once you touch this place, you'll realize that it was always there and that it's the greatest refuge you have in any situation. It will regenerate if you're in a problem in the outer world, when you come out of this space, and I recommend 5 to 10 minutes. If you really touch her, you touch the goddess, you touch this womb, and your mind lets down. It only takes a moment to regenerate. When you come back into the world, your values will shift and you'll have more of this heart connection ready to meet the world and to meet other people. So let's say you're having a situation that's heightened with another human being, or even let's say you went too far on social media or something happened and you took something in and it triggered you. Take that moment, step away, and do this. It's always here. Now, sometimes when the things that sometimes if we're not feeling comfortable in our body, it's a little harder to get there. But the reason this space is so valuable and it's important to learn it, this is why, and this is where we're going with this. Once you understand it, you will value your consciousness. You will understand that this, beyond your physical form, there's a pulsing light around you, and this light, your auric field, it's all around you. It's interacting with, that's your consciousness. It's your mind, and it has the level of conscious mind, heart mind, elemental lower mind, the forces, and that magnetic attractive force or sexual force, and then super consciousness. And the true power is to unite the three great consciousness. When we do that, we're activated, and we our values are in alignment. We can see crystal clear, and we're not as triggered, and we understand how this dance works. It's unique for everybody, but you'll know that you're in your own dance, and life won't feel as threatening, even though since the beginning of time on this planet we've gone through ups and downs, big ones. And so we're in one right now, and we're at the end of this cycle. So there's a lot of um, energies we'll be moving through in this next year, big energies. And so we'll understand why we're here. And if you just take a moment, if you were here yesterday, we talked about making an intention for what you would like to bring in to the age of Aquarius. So if you just take a moment and connect with that, I want to bring it in every day. If this is your first video, we did day one yesterday. I asked everyone to tune into the reason they feel that they're here, their purpose, or what you would like to bring in to this coming age. What is your gift crossing over into 2021? We're going to need to all be on. And we're also going to need to, we're going to need to be, we're going to need to know how to connect to each other in the heart. This is the way consciousness works. I'll talk a little bit about this. Consciousness is all time and space. There is no, it penetrates all time and space. I can travel this is how the astral works. I can travel anywhere through my consciousness. Time and space doesn't matter, but where I'm going to travel will be determined by the frequency that I hold. So I can only link with people powerfully that are at that frequency, or people that I've connected with in some way that I have an ongoing connection with. So anytime you take part in something beautiful and there's a group, an archetype is born, and you have access to join that, especially if you feel that it really represents the direction of your creative light. So in understanding that, what we're doing here is we're creating the understanding that we're connected to each other. And the higher we go, we begin to link with higher and higher wisdom. There's hierarchies of intelligence that go up and up and up and way beyond our galaxy that we can link in with when we have that refinement in our own consciousness. And that's not to get too far out with that, but that's what happens. And so some of the higher energies trying to work on this planet right now, if they can find you as a receptor, you will be in communion with a higher energy, and you'll feel the presence of that love in that group. So just one more moment in this space. This is our space of transmutation as well. It's our space of releasing fear, because there's a lot of fear, and fear does no good for our heart. You can do more good in one moment of having this experience for the collective than battling it out on 100 different platforms about an issue. Because when you have this, you'll be guided right where you need to go, and whatever words you say will be activators, and either healing, activating, justice, whatever it is. But it's the truth. It's truth. It's a divine truth, and the galactic core is in the archetype of truth and wisdom and power. And so this is also the place of forgiveness, because there's a release that happens. The word I'm hearing is we release our burden. So whatever burden you're carrying, you just let it go. And you're like, wow, I didn't even have to be carrying that. And it will give you a new understanding, a new language of how to speak to whatever it was that was hard for you. I have shifted things. I was just telling someone recently, there's been a couple things that came and we've been really, really big. And I was like, oh, I'm putting this to the test right now. I'm going to take 15 seconds, go in, do this, and see what happens. And it works. It works. We just have to get familiar with it, but meaning it will shift. It will shift where you need a shift to be. So this is very simple, but it's the most powerful tool we have. So we went with the body yesterday. Today's our mind. We value what we give our mind to, what we read, what we take in. It's like there's so much information now. And I'm an information person. I love to gather information. I love to read, but be discerning and discriminating. If you have a few big things that are kind of controversial, or there's conflict that you're into, pick and choose and be very specific about how you give yourself to that thing. Because if you feel called to something that's charged, it may be part of your path, but make sure you don't let it overtake you, because then it's like handing over your consciousness and it can be used. So I'm going to just take a moment here. And then look down at questions. This is our universal language that I want to really, really bring in that word, universal language, going forward for the next now. So today's day 21. Today's day 20. The next 19 days after today. Just going to take a quick peek and see if I had. It gives us the ability to listen because right now there's so many different stories about what's going on in the world, and we really, really we're really asking right now to shift the geopolitical in a way that has light with it, and that has wisdom with it, and that isn't destructive, because there's worlds are colliding right now. They're clashing, and there's a deep, deep battle going on. And I'll tell you something fun. I told you all I was reading this book, The Darkening Age, about the church and the Hellenistic period and the paganistic culture, and the battle between those two archetypal ideologies. And I can tell you, it is unbelievable how, and this is all happening, what I'm reading is mostly 300, 400 AD, but it goes back into, it has the ancient Greek values as well. And it really, really highlights the two main forces that have been going at each other since the beginning of time in this creation. And so more than ever, I can see that that's what's happening. The same two forces the pendulum is always swinging back and forth. And I'm not going to go into that much deeper today. I'll bring that in again because it's very powerful to help this. The reason I'm bringing that in is because what we're seeing in the world are those two forces, two different ideologies that both have a shadow, and they fall into their shadow quite easily, but they also both have good values. And so it's really the merging of those two and the coming together to work together that will be the highest. We have our greatest battle and challenge right now will be how we use technology going forward. And with Gemini being our North Node, and with the archetype we're entering into, it will be all about that. So this is the remembrance of our goddess technology and of our inner womb. Her womb, she will hold you as the divine mother and speak to you. And I would love to hear how any of you experience this in the coming days. And yeah, please let me know what you think, or if you have any thoughts. I'm going to look down, and if anybody wants to bring it in a couple questions or just bring anything up before we tune out for today, I would love to hear from you. 333. I love it. I love it. I've been seeing that a lot too. Nice to see you. I made it. Love these messages. Oh, yeah. I'll wait and see if anyone has anything to say. Wow. Kundalini rush. Yeah. It's okay. So the Kundalini, yeah, it's the Kundalini is the various expressions that happen in consciousness. There's different vibrations of it. And the heart Shakti is merges the above and the below. We can put it that way. And it kind of tempers the serpent from below that kind of gets us sometimes, and brings it into a higher expression. Yeah, it is. There's a lot. Conflicts with the partner. Yeah, this is what I recommend. Check in with the space. When you're in the middle of a conflict, just check in, because it's easy to misspeak right now. And it's easy to speak because of this astral level. The astral level is the emotional level. And it's in the emotional level on the astral. I was just talking to one of my, one of the dear women I work with yesterday about this, that in the astral, the shapes and the realities are created from our feelings and our thoughts. And so we're healing that. So that's emotional body energy. So when you get into conflict, if you can take this time out, even a couple minutes, and go into this space and try to release your partner. It's easy to grip and just to want to be right, or to want them to see it from your perspective. And sometimes it really is, you might really have the more awake perspective, but it won't do any good now to get in that kind of entanglement in fact, what we are learning to have in this time is union of mind with our partner. The highest level of love in relationships happens when we, first of all, are united in the heart. And that's why love is having a hard time on the planet right now. And this is the era that we're learning love. We're going to learn what it really means to know. We talked about knowing another human being at the beginning of the video. When we have union of mind and union of heart, along with whatever, if we're in a physical relationship, we have peace, and we read each other, we feel each other, we communicate with each other. We don't necessarily need to have the kinds of like ego conflicts or shadow conflicts that we have when we haven't reached that union. But those conflicts can be shadow work for you. Understand we all have different archetypal bodies and planets, so we all behave differently. And sometimes it's your planet clashing against their planet. They may have a lot of Mars, you may have a lot of Venus. They may have a lot of water, you may have a lot of fire or air. It just, so when we learn to perceive from the universal, we can find the right words. And it's important that we work through conflicts. It's important. We're not just meant to like rise above them and let them be done. If it really stirs you, there's probably a gift in it from you, but pray about it and meditate a little bit and send love. See them in their highest and connect with their highest self, because that's always really, really powerful. Yeah, they will too. I love that you said this. Somebody said some fears are coming up, but they are melting in this womb. So this womb that we just went into, and I would love for you to go into it tonight too, before you go to bed, or if it's morning, before you get your day going. They melt away. That's where you see the illusion. You're like, wow, was that real? It was so concrete and dense. And after you go into this space, it's liberation. It liberates your creative energy. It liberates your goddess power. So your inner mother is helping you to liberate your version of her. And so the world needs this right now. And this is why we're here. And so it's really wonderful to connect with all of you today. And oh, it looks like there's a couple more. I'll take a peek. Stories of the last days of the wizard magic, beginning in the rule by man. Oh, interesting, interesting. Somebody connected it to the Merlin Arthur stories. Arthur stories. Intention listened yesterday 3 times. And I'm still. Oh, okay. So as for your intention, meaning, okay. So you know how at New Year's sometimes you make a what's it called, a resolution. I just want you to think about what it is that you want to bring through. If you were walking through a portal into a new world right now, what version of yourself do you want to bring in? If you can just have an, images are really, really powerful for working with the goddess. So if you have an image, it doesn't have to be right or perfect. It just has to be like what you know is what gives you joy, and how would you like to most create and express yourself. That could be one way of looking at it. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I send you blessings. Somebody just said that he or she watched this with their partner, and yeah, if you can find space, a little space and silence with your partner, and just go into that place, the sky's the limit, especially if you love each other. When love is there, okay, and then we got to close. When love is there, when you have love with another human being, it means it's a fertile ground. And so if the container's there and the love is there, and you take this step just to go in, you'll be assisted, because the universe wants love. It wants communion, and it wants communication, which is what communion is and sacred union is. And so when you're giving yourself to be a vessel of real communication, you'll be assisted. And so that being said, um, oh yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay, so we're gonna close out for today. Um, I hope that you can join me tomorrow, and up until the winter solstice, we'll be here every day, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please invite your friends, or please share this with people that you think could benefit from it. I would love to just invite people into this this kind of group soul that we're creating to move through. And the solstice is going to be a very, very special day. And so, that being said, until tomorrow, I wish you many, 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 many blessings. And please subscribe. Please give the video a thumbs up because that always helps. Subscribe if you plan to be here every day, and you will get the notification. And love it, love it, love it. There's all kinds of links will be in the description box if you come back. If you're wanting to know about anything that I have going on right now, I have a bunch of big things happening. So you can always find those links on my website or and in the description box. So, all right. I'm wishing you all a beautiful evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Namaste. I am before me. I am behind me. I am at my left. I am at my right. I am above me. I am below me. I am unto me. I am. I am. I know I am. I am. I am. I know I am. Peace be with you, and we will meet again tomorrow. Bye bye. Thank you.